All right. Welcome to another edition of the Dur or Die podcast. This is the only YouTube channel on YouTube that is dedicated to the owners and drivers of classic Porsches. We film every week right here in the middle of the Arts District of Las Vegas, also known as the 18B. We've got Mikey P, the hashtag man back there behind the board. How you doing, Mikey?
I'm doing great today.
Yeah. You were in LA this morning.
I was. I just got back.
You just flew in
20 minutes ago.
Yeah. You were in an Uber like 15 minutes ago or something like that. We record this show every week in front of a live studio audience of maybe 4 or 5 people. I think maybe we have 6 or 7 today. Huge audience, massive. I don't know how to deal with this many people. Audience in the background, somebody prove that you're actually here. Somebody yell at me. Okay. Oh, well, you didn't have to clap. Okay. Clearly, they're not clapping for me. They're clapping for our guest today. Mikey, are you excited about our guest?
I'm pretty excited.
I mean, this is just so great to have our guest in here today. I think ever since we got the opportunity to meet, I don't know how to introduce this guy. He's just too cool. He's too awesome for our humble little Dur studio. So I'm just going to do it. I'm going to introduce Mr. Rod Emery. Welcome to Dur Studio.
Hey, thank you, man.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, I love the new place.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it's great. I was just here a couple nights ago for a little gathering, and I don't know, there are 50, 60 people and some cool cars in here, some great food. The place next door.
Cornish pasties.
Killer.
Right?
Pasties, that's what they are?
Well, if we call it pasties, we are in Vegas, and,
Okay.
Right,
All
so we
right.
got to make sure we kind of make it's
Pasties.
Pasty,
Okay.
exactly.
They were described to me when I first came as spicy calzones.
Right.
But, with some type of Irish, I don't know, whatever. But they were delicious.
Weren't they good? I
Yeah.
I think we took a few of them home, and we might. Well,
It was great.
They were good. They were fantastic.
So thank you for hosting my father, Gary, and I. We had a great time.
We were so happy to have you guys here. What are you in town for? You're in Las Vegas, not just for us. We appreciate you coming to our party, but what are you doing?
You know, it's SEMA week, which is just complete madness.
Yeah.
So we, Amy and I were in Atlanta last week for the big RM auction, Porsche 70th, and we introduced a new car kind of to the public that we built for John Oates and had a little private concert there, and then flew in Sunday night back into L.A., worked literally round the clock, another 24 hours straight to finish up a couple of cars, and jumped in the truck and trailer. I think I slept all the way here while my dad hammered down so that we could move in the 356 RSR into the into SEMA, and since then it's just been complete madness. We're having fun.
Yeah, how's the show been going? I mean, what kind of people are you meeting? What does it mean to even have a Porsche, a classic Porsche, no less, a custom outlaw classic Porsche in a place in a show that's kind of been over the years? It used to be just wheels for Jeeps and American cars, and now it seems like there's Porsches everywhere.
Yeah, I think, for those that don't know what SEMA is, once a year, it's the largest aftermarket and automotive marketplace show on the planet. I mean, there's literally hundreds of thousands of people I think it's like 200,000 people that are here for SEMA and Apex. And it's 5 days, 4 dedicated days, but really it's a 5-day event at the convention center and also at Sands. And it's every company imaginable is here displaying stuff. And it's become an opportunity for builders, people that build cars, to display their cars. Lots of, introductions of new cars and revealing of new cars. But you're right. For so many years, it's really been primarily focused on Jeeps and things with bolt-on aftermarket parts. But the last few years, especially with the huge response to the Porsche market and kind of Porsche culture, you're seeing a lot more Porsche activity. For us, it's a really great place to work with our partners and to display cars that are that are fun and exciting. We're here with 3 cars this year. We've got one car that's a pretty wild, outrageous 356 that we've been building.
Mikey, can you maybe look that up on the internet? Maybe we can get a picture of that while we're talking. Let me know when you find it, but no big deal. Yeah.
Okay. So it's the 356 RSR that we're building for Momo. And
that's actually in the Momo booth, right?
It is, yeah. So it's in the South Hall, which is really primarily wheels and tires. And that's a car that is it's a 356 with a partial aluminum body, so aluminum nose and tail, kind of 935 inspired car. And it has one of our 4-cylinder 911 engines that is twin turbocharged. So Yeah.
Yeah, what kind of horsepower is that?
Well, imagine a 1,800-pound 356 with 400 horsepower and big Momo wheels and center lock hubs and all kinds of cool stuff.
Oh
So,
my gosh,
so
yeah.
yeah, so that car's in the Momo booth, and then we have another car, one of our little Emory Outlaw cars, which is a GT-inspired 356 that's black with a red Pegasus horse painted on the fenders, and that's on the main platform stage at the Mobile One booth. In kind of the central hall, and then one of my all-time favorite cars, the first Emory Special that we built, which it's now 20 years old. We built it 20 years ago. That's in the Pirelli booth. So we've got 3 really great cars, and for us, it's just an honor to have an opportunity to share those cars, and it just shows that Porsches are now becoming a lot more relevant. Even in the kind of more contemporary, the 356s are becoming more relevant in the more contemporary automotive world, and a lot more recognized and accepted. And I think that just has a lot to do with the type of cars that we've been building, as well as just Porsche's interest in their heritage now. What I love is that really going back probably about the 50th anniversary of the 911, you've seen kind of this change or shift for Porsche where they're really starting to embrace the early cars and including them in their marketing and yeah, it's great. So.
Well, they like to come down and talk to you and kind of see what you're doing. Do you? I feel like every time they launch something or announce something, I'm like, I wonder where that came from.
Yeah, well, obviously we hope that we play a little part in influencing just by, I think, really, everything that we try to do in the workshop and the cars that we build, we try to honor the Porsche brand and bring in as much of that early heritage as possible. And I've been told by a few of the designers and people that the stuff that we do sparks some inspiration for them.
Well, they just came out with their Moby Dick, the 935, and it has that kind of that tail. And looking at the pictures of your car in the Momo booth in the back. Do we have a picture of the back of that car? Is there some? I mean,
yeah, there might be a little bit of influence, both ways.
I mean, it's a coincidence. Is that why they were just in such a rush to launch that car?
No,
so they tried to beat you at the bunch.
I'm not going to sit here and say that we had total influence or any influence on that new badass 935 that they just introduced. But there was a sketch that we put out in 2012 of our 356 RSR that had fender louvers and some kind of cool stuff that was floating around Porsche. And in fact, that was the sketch that Magnus Walker brought to me when he wanted to louver the front fenders on his car.
Really?
And the only reason that I louvered them for him is because it turned out that his inspiration was a sketch that we did. So, but yeah, so I louvered the fenders on his 67 911 and also the 964 for him.
Nice.
And,
I've got a hacksaw on the back. Can we put some louvers in the 993?
Yeah, it takes a little more than a hacksaw, but it's fun. But no, obviously, our family, dating all the way back to my grandfather and my father Gary. I mean, these Porsches are really just, it's our life. It's a way of life, and everything that we do, even though sometimes it may seem a little wild and outrageous, like this RSR that we're doing. The 356 purists are, I'm sure some of them sitting there going, what are they doing? But if they really look deep and look at what we are doing on some of these cars, it's no different than what Porsche does, and it's really just drawing some of that heritage.
Are those purists? Does that exist anymore? I mean, that body of person. I mean, you guys really kind of were instrumental in. I mean, obviously, the Outlaw came from your family, and now it just feels like, man, the people that are worried about keeping things exactly the way they used to be, they're the outlaws at some point. It's because nobody. What do you think of that? I mean, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I think there's 2 or 3 of them left out
right.
there that are really kind of snobbish.
Yeah.
Even a lot of the guys that didn't really understand that what we were doing. Back 30 years ago, at Porsche Parts Obsolete in Costa Mesa, when my dad would find a little A coupe and we'd lower it and polish the drums and remove the bumper guards and put fog lights on it and hood straps. All of those or many of those guys that are still alive and around, they can appreciate now, 30, 35 years later, that it's really just doing what these cars were intended to be used for, and having fun with it. So
Yeah. You still have the 19 car, the number 19 car? Is that the
the number 19 is a speedster that we built.
Yep.
And that car, that car we actually built in 1999, 2000 for Ted Rogers that lives
Okay.
up in Oregon. But yeah, he still has it.
That car's still around.
In fact, I
Yeah.
just redid a few things on the car and just built a really cool hard top with a rear window that kind of bubbles over the headrest.
So that car's up in Oregon.
It is.
Yeah. Well, so we came up and visited you in Oregon. Not this last summer. I guess it was the summer before already.
It was, yeah.
How long? Man,
It's
time
been,
flies.
It's been a year and a half almost.
Yeah. So why did we come and visit you?
So, our family is from Southern California, Orange County. My dad grew up in North Hollywood. Our family then migrated to Orange County, and we were at Chick Iverson Volkswagen Porsche, and then in the early '90s, we all kind of headed north. And we went to Oregon, and we found this really cool piece of property about 45 miles outside of Portland called a little town of McMinnville. And it was this old, migrant worker camp, a cavalry post, basically 50 acres that in the 30s, 40s, 50s had about 2,000 people living on it. And it's just this really cool piece of property called Eola Village. And when the family purchased that piece of property in the early 90s, my dad had this vision of, inviting people to come and drive their little 356s to McMinnville, Oregon, of all places, and pitch a tent and party down and enjoy the company of each other. And that started in 1994. We had our first Porsche Campout, and it became a yearly tradition. And we did that for 18 consecutive years until 2012. And we'd have events, sometimes it was... we'd have 100 people. Sometimes we'd have 500 or 600 people, and it just depended on the weather and kind of what other events were going on. But it was just this yearly event that took place. And then when I packed up and moved the workshop back to Southern California in 2012, we just decided that it just wasn't going to work to do this yearly camp out, because it's really a family effort. Amy, my wife, and myself and my mom, we pretty much ran the organizational side of this camp out. My dad did what he does best, and that's promotion and sales, right? So he promoted the heck out of it and got all these people excited to come and take part in it. And when half of that team, Amy and I, left, it was just going to be too much of an effort for my mom and dad to carry on that event, from on a yearly basis. And so, even though we said in 2012 that we were never doing it again, it was just, we had to set the expectation just in case we weren't ever going to do it again. We didn't want to let anybody down. But, there was just so much interest and so many people that had missed it, because as you experienced, that event wasn't just your typical car show. It's a community of people coming together to, at the end of the weekend, it's like everybody's one big family,
Right. Well, we actually have a film. We made an episode of Faszination about the camp out, and we're going to try to show it. This is kind of unofficial. I mean, this is supposed to be part of series or season 2, but technically, we're not sure if the technical side is really going to work very well. So I'm glad you got a chance to see it before we started here, but we're going to try to show it. Do you want to?
That'd be
is
awesome.
That good?
Heck yeah.
You guys mind? What do you guys think of that? What's the studio audience think?
All
right. Okay. Well, let's give it a whirl. It might be really, I don't know. Let's try it. Mikey, roll it, Mikey. I think we can talk over the top of it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
It's like the director's cut.
this is our 5-year reunion. So this, we stopped doing the yearly event in 2012, and this became the 5-year reunion that we did in 2017.
Farm in McMinnville, Oregon, out in the middle of Oregon wine country. We got this property in the early 90s, and Amy and I, in 1996, really started Emory Motorsports right here on this piece of property, building cars, restoring cars. And this is the home of the Emery Porsche Campout. So for 18 consecutive years, we've invited people from all over the world to come and make their camp here on our property. We did that from 1994 until 2012. stopped doing it when we moved Emory Motorsports back down to LA, and everybody in the Porsche community was begging us to bring it back. So this is our 5-year reunion. And it's just a way to kind of bring the Porsche community back together and have some fun. And no guarantees we're ever going to do it again, but definitely going to be a great event this year.
That thing's amazing. Look at that.
So there's obviously a lot of people that put this camp out together. There's my family. It takes about 50 of us to prepare the grounds, to get everything ready to go. Everything from my mom and dad, my sisters, their husbands, their kids. You know, the whole event's just a different feeling. As you know, Porsches aren't just about the car. It's about the people. And this event in particular is so much different than any other events because it's an event where people can kind of let their hair down and enjoy themselves. And you know, they drive their little Porsches from wherever they're coming from, and then when they get here, they just want to relax, tell stories. It's just it's a really fun environment. So the Emory Porsche Campout in the past had about 200 to 300 people that would show up here, about 100, 150 cars. This year, the campout was much bigger because this is a reunion, and all the people for 18 years that wish they would have come, as soon as they heard the campout was coming, they were packing their tents. So this year, we had 700, 750 people camping in my backyard. Is a pretty cool deal. The biggest thing that I want them to leave here with is the memories of good friends, good camaraderie amongst other people that enjoy Porsches. But most of all, at the end of the weekend, you'll see that everybody's kind of become more of a tight community.
We are so appreciative of everyone making the trip out here. I mean, it has been wonderful.
So it's okay if we all just stick around then? Because I kind of like the spot we got over there. We're
I'm
moving
sure
in.
that some won't leave when they're supposed to, so you can join them.
I'm excited for you guys to be here. You'll sense that it's a different event, right?
How many people wouldn't leave?
Quite a few.
Really?
Well, you know, it's a pretty relaxing environment.
Yeah, I
And
didn't
it's
wanna leave.
Nobody wants to go back to work when
my gosh.
when they can just sit around, listen to live music, party a little bit, eat great food, hang out with their friends, talk Porsches, swap parts.
Yeah.
You know.
So was it Amy out there with a baseball bat after a couple of days?
No,
or,
we just finally start putting people to work,
Oh,
and that's the best way to
smart.
get people to scatter.
Yeah. Hey, we need to grab a garbage can and a rake. All right. I
Now
like that.
everybody's always really helpful. You
Yeah.
know, it's and everybody leaves the place, you know, as good as when they arrived. You know,
Yeah.
it's always, you know, there's never any trash. Nobody leaves anything, so they really respect the land.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, again, I've just got to thank you personally for doing that event. It was just spectacular, and I sure hope maybe one day there's another one.
There will be. Actually, we've
Is this a scoop? Are we?
yeah, this,
are we,
this is a scoop. We've never
All right.
we haven't officially put it out there, but we are doing it in July of 2020. So we've done 19 of these events.
Okay.
18 consecutive plus the 5-year reunion, which makes 19 events. So we figured no better time to do our 20th event than July of 2020.
Very nice. All right. Well, we'll bring a Porsche this time. Last time we were in a stupid rental car that we.
Put masking tape on that said porcupine or
It's
something.
a,
I don't know.
Yeah, pecan. It was.
Pecan, yes, yes.
Yeah, it was. Kind of ridiculous, yeah. No. So we'll actually bring a Porsche this time, and we're going to do the camping, and I'm so excited about it. Where that's on the calendar, we'll make another film if that's okay.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you guys. That film was amazing.
Thank you.
We've unfortunately we just really never documented the event in the past. Just
Yeah.
you know the focus was more on putting on a great event, and you know let's be honest, it really hasn't been except for the last 5 to 6 years that people have been carrying, a
Cameras
camera equipment
everywhere, yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And to have you guys there, not only as part of the event, but to be documenting it in a way that nobody even knew the cameras were rolling.
Yeah.
It was really special, and that right there proved it. It's just, I'm excited to see the longer version.
Yeah. We've got there will be another version, and you can look for that version and this version at Faszination.com or our YouTube channel when we release season 2, which is going to happen pretty soon.
Sweet.
Yeah. So again, thanks for holding that event. Speaking of making more movies with you, it sounds like your son Zane has kind of changed his Porsche. His garage has got some changes in it.
Yeah, as when you guys came and did the film on him about a year and a half ago,
Yeah.
he was driving a 2009 Cayman S, which was a car that he had bought for himself when he was 18, and
For the record, you didn't buy that car for him.
that was his car.
Yeah.
Yeah, he bought it. So
Yeah.
a great kid, works hard. He's on a couple of TV shows. Right now, he's currently on The Rookie, which is an ABC drama. And he's also on the Goldberg, so a couple of ABC shows. So,
Nice.
so he's a working young adult. He's 20 years old. His car had to go away, not by his choice, but I had a little 54 Speedster come across my path that was a little Mulholland Racer that I found out about, and it was a gentleman that had had the car since the 70s, and he didn't really want to sell it. He wanted a 356 he could drive every day, and so he's like, Rod, he goes, if you want the car, then let's do some horse trading. He said, let me come to the shop. And he fell in love with this little yellow C Coupe that I had, but he also wanted to get a car that his wife could drive that, had AC and something enjoyable. So as he's walking around, he says, and I'll take that car. And he pointed to Zane's Cayman. And I said, hey, I can't give you that car. I said, that's my son's, it's a car that he bought for himself. And the guy says, well, if you can put the deal together, we can do some trading. And so anyways, I bought the car from Zane. He made a little profit on the deal. So I think he made about, Amy, about $8,000 on the deal. So
Man,
not
can
bad.
I park some of my cars over at your
Not
place?
bad, which was cool. But I needed that to be able to make this deal that I was doing. So anyways, so he sold the Cayman and was trying to figure out, what his next move was. He had ideas of just driving an early 911, but he's on set. He's always in traffic. He's this and that. But he did find a 911. So he found a 70 911T that had been sitting for about 16, 17 years in Hollywood. It was a warehouse find. So he bought that car, and that's what he called his daily driver, even though Mom said you should probably buy something else too. So he has that car that he's
Making all that ABC money,
Yep.
you might as well.
Well, he's putting that back on the road, and then he also just bought 2017 Macan from Gaudin Porsche right here in Las
Nice.
Vegas. So
Nice.
so he made Mom happy and Dad happy, because now I'm all he's got an early 911, and Mom's like yes, and he has
his airbags.
He has a Porsche with airbags and an automatic, PDK and air conditioning. So but no, Zane's doing great. He's working hard, and he's got 2 great cars. So I think you're going to have to do a little update film.
I'm excited about it. Actually, I'm going to go back to Gaudin for just a second. Did you guys take advantage of the Vegas delivery for him when you got them? When you got the Macan?
We did not, because because he bought the car.
Every time you come here, it's Vegas delivery. They hook you. They pick you up from the airport in a Porsche.
Oh, my
and
goodness.
Drive you around. And you can take a Porsche home.
Yeah, absolutely. But he didn't take advantage of the Vegas delivery on that. But I'm sure when Jade, our 16-year-old daughter, buys her next Porsche, her first, I'm sure she'll take advantage of that. If you ask her, she's saving up right now so that she.
Well,
can
what
get
did you
one.
drive here to the studio today?
Well, yeah, interesting. So on our way to Vegas, I have an older Ford F-150 that we actually bought from Gaudin Ford about 3 years ago. Great truck. It's our shop truck. We tow trailers with it. And we were driving that here, and it's got about 110,000 miles. Finally, one little glitch with it. It had a check engine light on it, so only problem we've ever had with it. And I called up Gaudin Ford. I said, hey, guys, I want to bring the Ford in for some service. They said, no problem, drop it off. And then my next call was to Paul. I said, hey, Paul, can we park the enclosed trailer at the dealership during SEMA? He says, yeah, well, how are you going to get around? I said, I don't know, Uber or something. He goes, how about, and he's really good at, teasing me and letting me experience, the new car. So anyways, he hooked us up with a brand new Panamera, and it's my first time driving the new platform, the newer Panamera.
Yeah.
And, oh my gosh, yeah.
Car's pretty amazing. Is that the car that Jade's probably going to get then?
Well, that's what she thinks.
That's what she thinks. So
Yeah.
she's
Now
going
to her,
straight to,
now she, that's definitely what she thinks, and she'll probably do it. She's a driven kid, just like Zane. She did a lot of commercials and voiceover work when she was younger, so she's got some savings, and when she turns 18, she can do what she wants with it.
Yeah.
And I would imagine that she's going to do everything she can to talk Mom and I into letting her buy a Panamera, which would be pretty cool. That means
would be pretty
the
cool.
whole family will be
that
Porsche'd up.
That Panamera that you're driving around today, I know Paul hooked you up, but there's also someone else in the room that actually did a pretty good job. And I think they were going to. There was talk of a mobility, which would have been like a base Macan or something. But Mikey comes into the room. Our Mikey right here.
Yes.
He's like, we have that Panamera.
Oh.
So I'm just, you might want to.
So
I'm just letting you know.
Well, thanks, Mikey.
I was around for that conversation.
So I have a feeling that we have friends in many places.
You guys do.
Well, thank you so much.
You guys are very welcoming when we come to your neck of the woods.
Yeah.
You have to extend it.
Well, as you know, you guys are our extended family. I mean, or I shouldn't even say extended. I mean, the whole Gaudin family, and you guys here at your Fascination. It's such a great feeling because anytime we're together, it's a brotherhood and it's family.
From the moment I met you guys, it was just wow. We meet so many great friends in this culture, right? I mean, that you said in the film that we made about you and Zane that some of your best friends, the best people that you know, all came from this brand, and it couldn't be more true when we meet people like you and your lovely wife and your dad is here. And thanks, guys, for coming. By the way, I'm waving. You guys can't see them off screen there, but Amy and your father are here too. So so I remember when we came and saw you at Trancas in Malibu.
Yes.
Is that right? Do you remember that?
Yep, absolutely.
That was a week before we shot your film, and I saw Zane. I'm like, oh, hey, there's Zane. I went running up to him, and he had no idea who the heck I was. But even he was like, oh, okay, I guess this is just another one of these crazy Porsche people that Dad knows.
Yep, absolutely. But then a couple days later, we were up in the hills and ripping around Big Tahunga, Little Tahunga, and just having a great time.
I'm surprised he hasn't just absconded your RS, because he kind of...
Oh, trust me.
Yeah.
In fact, when we were in Monterey just a few weeks ago for Rennsport, he figured out a way to...
Mom's shaking her head
to
in
drive it home. So when he was like kind of in limbo, no car,
right?
Well,
Dad, you sold my car,
right?
So
Exactly.
what am I?
So first he confiscated Jade's GTI. She has a great little 2014 GTI, and he was driving the wheels off of that thing, and he's like, "Hey, this is pretty cool. I don't even have to own a car. I can just drive Jade's car." And then Jade has her license now, so she's like, "Hey, Zane, I need my car," and so we ended up bringing our 2006 Cayenne that we keep up in Oregon at the on the farm.
Yep.
We brought that car down here so that at least he had a car to drive, for a little while. Not a bad car; it's a great car. But the early Cayenne platform, as you know, they're a little rougher riding, and they're they're not like the new ones. But great car. But so he's driving that, and it's Rennsport time. And by the way, I talked Amy into towing a trailer with her Macan GTS. The one thing I was never supposed to do was tow a trailer with her Macan, but then Porsche did a little film on us, Road to Rennsport, and they wanted us to flat tow one of the cars up to the races. So anyway, so we drive Amy's Macan up to Rennsport, and Zane was supposed to drive up with us, and he ended up on set at the last minute on Thursday, so he had to drive himself up there.
Last minute, of course.
Yeah. So he drives the Cayenne up, which is great. Had a nice drive up, but then throughout the weekend, I think he was trying to figure out, because the plan is that Amy and Jade were going to drive the RS from Monterey back to LA. Take a mother-daughter trip and enjoy the drive back home, and somehow Zane kind of finagled, the drive arrangement, and let's just say they drove the old Cayenne back, and Zane ripped home in the RS. So any chance he gets, he's behind the wheel. But now he's got competition because Jade, who's really the little racer in the family. You know, she's the moment she got her driver's license, she was pushing the launch control button, and so anyways, you know.
Well, I'm surprised Zane didn't get relegated to the tractor. There's a tractor race at Rennsport.
Rennsport was amazing. I
Yeah.
mean, wasn't that event just
Tell
was-
us about that. I mean, I saw you with you're like, I'm the one in the white helmet. Weren't there like 5 white helmets or something?
Yeah. So yeah, well, Rennsport, for those of you that don't know what it is, which I'm sure everybody on this podcast
watching this probably knows, yeah.
what it is, but you know, it's the event of of the year every 3 or 4 years that Porsche gets behind and endorses, and we had 8 cars that we brought up that were some new customer delivery cars, and then I was also racing 2 Porsches, well actually 3, but I was racing a Porsche 935 that was a Le Mans car that in 77, 78, 79, a car that Gunter Racing had just restored. That was an amazing driving that. And then I was also racing an Elva Porsche, which is, for those of you that don't know what an Elva is, it was a 1964. I think we got some. In 1964, 65, it's a sports racer that kind of looks like a Lotus and has a Porsche 4-cam engine. Actually, the engine that's in that car is a 904 4-cam, 2-liter 4-cam engine. So I was racing that car, and then I was asked by Porsche and everybody there to pilot one of the Porsche tractors in the tractor race, and that was fun. So Rennsport was
Who won, by the way?
Patrick Long won Saturday's event, and then I'm not sure who won Sunday's event.
Okay.
I was so far back, like more than dead last.
Yeah.
Because
More than dead last.
I was put in the Porsche Junior single cylinder that almost didn't make it up the hill. Did I have fun? I had a great time. But
What's it like going over the corkscrew in a 3-wheel vehicle? That's high-centered like that?
it went from the front straightaway into turn 5. So
Okay.
no, we would have had.
Everything would have just tipped over, right?
Major problems if we would have tried to take these things up the hill and then down the corkscrew.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, we're a little over 30 minutes right now.
Okay. Can you cue up the season 2 trailer? Is that possible? All right. So Mikey has given us the flag there. We're getting close to the checkered flag.
All right.
Man,
We could just sit here and talk all
we
night.
could,
though.
right? I mean, that's kind of what we're trying
We've only
to do.
scratched the surface.
It's every time we start one of these, that's kind of we quit right when it feels like it's.
I guess I'm gonna
interesting.
have to come to Vegas more.
That is the truth. You were, do we have an extra key, Mikey? Can we
I
just
think
get him?
we could find one. Maybe not for him, but for his dad.
Okay.
Speaking of which, can I stash a car here?
Yeah. Why not? Yeah.
Perfect,
Just
perfect.
load him up.
We'll switch keys.
We'll switch keys.
Yeah.
Okay,
No
yeah,
problem.
that's even
No
better.
problem.
That's not the right
Oh.
trailer. Yeah. That might be a surprise. So no, we've got. I'm going to give everyone a little bit of since we're showing things that we're not really supposed to show yet. We're going to throw the season 2 trailer up there too when we're done here. But again, absolutely, you're always welcome. I hope that you come back all the time, anytime. I really, 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 really appreciate your friendship, and I'm honored and to be able to call you a friend. So thank
Thanks,
you,
buddy.
Hey,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks
No.
for having me on. Thanks for
and
being
your
so
whole
welcoming.
family
Yeah.
being here too, man.
Yeah.
And next time, bring what's your dog's name?
Roscoe.
Roscoe. Okay,
Yeah, he's recovering. His tongue is just retracted back
Yeah.
into his mouth. He had some
Yeah.
surgery. So yeah, Roscoe the bulldog.
Convalescing.
Yeah.
All right. You got that thing queued up there? Can you find it? That's it. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, again, so we're going to move on here. We're going to actually show a trailer. But again, thank you so much for being here. And this has been another edition of the Dur or Die podcast. Before we close it up, we're going to actually take the opportunity to show the trailer for season 2 of Faszination. And I hope that all of you enjoy that. And we're just going to let that go to the end. And before we show it, just make sure if you want to see more content like this, subscribe and hit the notification button on our YouTube channel. And go and say hi to our friends at Gaudin Porsche if you're ever in Las Vegas. Or come down here and say hello to us in the 18B in the Arts District at Dur Studio.
Awesome.
Again, Rod Emery, thank you so much for being here. All right, Mikey, you good?
All right, we're good. We're
All
good.
right, let's play this thing and finish her up. Do or Die podcast every week. Season 2 coming soon. Well, here's the... Yeah, that happened. Professor Run.
It happens.
Luftkult 4, I think. Yeah. That's it. Thanks, guys. We off, Mikey?